Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this video. I hope you're all doing well. It's not that warm today in North Lincoln. It's only about 22 degrees, 23, so it's not that hot. It's not hot at all. It's just getting towards warm. But in my craft room, well, my little craft room, the room I film in, which is one of the, what I call the office, I've got about 5 lights on to get the right brightness, so, and the door closed, so it gets warm in here at the best of times, let alone now. So I've opened the window, so I do apologise if you're going to hear some noises from outside. We're in a close, so you know we shouldn't have too much noise, but you might hear the birds, so just to warn you. This is the card we're making today. Is it not lovely and bright and cheery and happy and lovely? And it just says, I just want to say thank you. So let me show you how I made that. We're going to be using this stamp set called Art Gallery, and it's a 2-step stamping. So let's get started. I'm going to take up my simple chamois because you're going to need this to, I'm just checking it's still wet. We're going to need this to clean all of our stamps up as we go along. I've got everything set up in my Stamparatus, and we're going to stamp firstly in Poppy Parade ink. So just going to make sure I ink up my stamp nicely like that. And I've got my cardstock here in the far corner. I'm just going to give it a press down like that. Perfect. And it's meant to be sketchy like that. I know it's difficult sometimes for us crafters to understand that and we get scared, but if you look at the artwork on the case, you can see it's sketchy. But I've had a few people, you know, say they've tried it and there's white spaces and they get scared and it's not stamping properly. This is how it's meant to stamp. It's meant to be a sketchy look. So it's not meant to be a perfect image. It's meant to be sketchy and artistic like that. Okay, and as you can see, I just keep moving my lid of my Stamparatus up. And this way, everything, when we have to come to the 2-step stamping, we'll only have to line the stamp up once and not 3 times. Okay, so there we go. There are our flowers. So let's take this lid off, and I'm just going to give it, so I've got on the stamp a nice clean up. And this is another bonus of the lid, is you can just take it off and clean it up so easily. Okay, so let's close up the ink pad because we're done with Poppy Parade. And let me bring in my next stamp, which is this one. And this one can be, I've heard people again struggle to line it up. It's sketchy. So if you just line up with this little piece here at the bottom, that will line up with that little piece there. And then the rest will line up. But again, it's meant to be more sketchy, so don't get yourself too worried about it. You know, if you are scared, that's what the Stamparatus is there for. You can take your time lining it up. I think that will do me fine. And then I'm going to stamp in a darker colour. This time it's Cherry Cobbler. And it's very apt that I'm stamping in this because I'm actually wearing a lovely red skirt today, so just the colour for, it's really the colour of Poppy Parade. So very apt for filming this. Now if you want it a bit deeper, which I think I do, you just re-stamp again like that, and you can darken it up. Now just move this up, and as I said, because everything is still lined up from the first time, we don't have to do it again, we just stamp. Isn't that simple? I know I've shown this trick a gazillion times before, but there are people who won't have seen those videos, so I'll just show it again. and then down again so we can deepen the colour a bit. That's the beauty of the Stamparatus, is you can deepen the colour. I'll actually need to move this up, no problem. Down again, and down again, and there we have our flowers stamped. So I'm going to set that aside for a second. I'm going to take this off, and I find it easier just to clean it like this, to be honest, because then I can make sure the ink doesn't transfer anywhere else. Sometimes if I do it on the table, I find I just pull the ink straight off my stamp onto the table, and then I end up cleaning the table as well. So this way I don't end up in that mess. If anywhere it goes on me, and I can clean me up quite easily. Okay, one last little bit of stamping. We're going to stamp the thank you. Now I've got another piece of Whisper White. Well, I did have one. How can you lose things so easily? We found it. It was hiding underneath my I have here a file, and each card I make has what I call a recipe sheet, which basically shows all the supply list of everything I do and any measurements I need and all that kind of stuff. So I have it. It was hiding underneath all of that. My magnet doesn't want to move. Just check it's still okay. Yeah. We're just going to stamp the thank you again in Cherry Cobbler. Close up the Cherry Cobbler before we have a disaster. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now time to cut everything out. So this is the Ornate Floral 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to put a piece of basic white through that. Then I have the die set that matches here, and we're going to use this die which says just want to say, and then we're going to use this one here to cut the flowers out. So I'm going to do all of that and I'll be back. Okay, so everything's die cut out, so let's get our bits together. As I say, there we've got our flowers, here we've got our sentiment. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of tombow on the back of the thank you. That's more than enough. Okay. And I'm just going to mat it on a little piece here of Cherry Cobbler. And then I'm just going to use my scissors just to cut the rest of the way around. Just something like that. Okay, get rid of that. So let's bring back our base. Our base is Cherry Cobbler. It's a standard A6 card base. That's an A4 sheet cut in half and then folded in half. And then this piece of basic white that we put through the Ornate Flower embossing folder. I'm just going to stick this down with some tombow. You need quite a good amount of glue, just because you've got all that dimension on the back. And you want it to stay down, you don't want it to come back up again. Okay, now let's arrange our flowers. Last time I had them coming off the piece of basic white. I keep saying Whisper White, but it's basic white now. That has changed. And you just sort of decide how you want things to go. Okay, maybe something like that. Let's stick it down rather than procrastinating too much about it. That'll do. And then this piece, this one here. Maybe like that, and then we'll have this one coming down from the top as before. because I quite like that. Something like that. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly get my silicone mat so we can stick these down. I could have done this on some, what you call it, adhesive sheet, but I didn't think, so we're doing it this way. So let's put a little bit of adhesive on the back. I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow if it wants to play ball. Okay, so I'm filming this sort of the middle of June. I think it's about the 10th of June today. I can't remember the exact date. It's not bad of me, but it's not the 10th of June today. It really isn't. Let me have a look and see, because now it's bugging me. You know when you think something, it's the 9th of June today. So I was nearly, whoopsie daisy, sorry about that. I was nearly right. So we need the next bit, just want. So how are you all doing? It's warmed up significantly here in North Lincoln from May, which I'm pleased, and things are starting to flower in the garden. The first set of Busy Lizzies we bought didn't really do so well initially. The ones out front were okay, but the ones at the back really weren't happy. I think it was just too cold for them, bless their hearts, you know. Even though normally you'd have had them out. It's been such a cold, wet spring, really cold spring, you know. They weren't happy, but now that it's warmed up and it's at least 10 degrees at night, they're happy. And I bought some tomato plants recently, and they seem to be okay as well, because they need, you know, a warm nighttime temperature. They're not happy if it's below 10 degrees at night, you know. They need warmth to do their magic. So at last it feels like we could have a summer. Not going anywhere away for summer. To be honest, we never go away for summer. I don't really like staying in hotel rooms that much, or even in self-catering accommodation. I find it difficult when I'm not sleeping in my own bed, so don't really go away that often. The only place I wouldn't mind to go, to be honest, is home to South Africa, but obviously I'm not allowed to, so that's the end of that wish, you know. I'm hoping that at some point we will be allowed to go. Even if we don't go, it's just nice knowing you can go, because having, you know, the only family I have in this country is my mother, so it's nice to know that, you know, if something happens, they can come here, or vice versa. It's just having that, you know, that knowledge that, you know, you can get to family. And at the moment we don't have that, and it's just a bit, it can be a little bit of upsetting. But hey ho, it is what it is. And we have a lot to be grateful for. So let me put my sentiment down here. It says thank you. I've just popped it up as you saw in some dimensionals. Now I'm just going to cut all the overhang off. And of course getting glue on my scissors, which de rigueur. Yeah, cool. Okay, last bit here. There we go. Let's get rid of these bits before they stick to something else. So that's what we have so far. I don't think it looks too bad. Finishing touches, I'm going to use these gold or these gilded gems, and I'm going to use them for my flower centres. So I've got 3 here that I'm going to use. Whoopsie daisy. And for once actually I'm using the larger ones up before the smaller ones. Normally I always use tons of small ones and never use the larger ones. So there we go, they're the 2 cards. I hope you like them. If you did, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know, and don't forget to subscribe to future videos. If you want more information about this project, supply list, links to my online shop, all that good stuff, it's on my blog post on my website, and the links to that and all my social media links are in the description box below. That includes a link to my Facebook group where I host a monthly online card club. I also host a kit club where we craft together using kits from Stampin' and we do it via Zoom so we can chat and craft a bit like a crop. So do check us out. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye bye.